right. And we are live. The last word with Lord Cognito and Ebontis, but we got some special guests by the campfire today, man. What's going on, E?
Well,
Hey,
there has been a crazy, crazy community effort, and we were lucky enough to get a couple people who were involved in the art team for the big puzzle. The whole community helped with everything, but we got a couple people who were definitely had their nose to the grindstone for a little while, may have lost some sleep. So we want to get them into the last word in proper fashion. So I'm sending it right back to you. Give them that proper introduction. See if we can make them
Oh, they
blush.
got
Here we go.
they gotta get they gotta get the royal treatment.
All right, so let's
All
see it.
right. Welcome to the last word, episode number 88. And it's another glorious Friday. And we're back in front of the campfire for some more looter shooter discussion. I'm extremely excited about our special guests, so we're gonna get right into this. I want to introduce two lords who not only played an integral part in galvanizing our brilliant minds within the Destiny community, but ultimately helped produce the final map that resolved the true path for one of Destiny 2's most complex puzzles ever, the Corridors of Time. Introducing first, the Lord of IT security and spreadsheet algorithm creation, who just happens to be a passionate gamer. And introducing second, the Lord of the Corridors Inc. dev team, Twitch affiliate, and the Grimfinity of Hexagon Affinity. Live from our amazing Destiny community teams, and both kind enough to make their debut within the realm of the last word. Lords Zycore and Aetherlore. How are you lords doing?
doing good. How are you?
Let's go, baby. Rolling out the red carpet for you.
I see that. Yeah,
We got to bring you in proper
that's a
fashion.
great intro. Yeah,
Thank you. Good to have you guys in. Man, I love to see the community come together with an event like this, and to see your guys' involvement was truly tremendous. I know we're gonna get into. We got a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss, but it was only right. We got to show you guys the proper respect here at the last word. So come closer to the campfire.
Gather round, it's story
Gather round.
time.
You're amongst family. You're amongst family.
it's really warm actually. I'm slightly shocked.
There you go. You're sitting
There's
around
a
a
very good
campfire.
burning myself.
You got to use those sticks if you're getting those s'mores going. So get a little distance from that fire. Well, we're gonna
No
start and
doubt.
go through and get a little bit from each of you guys, just like where you are in the community, how you guys were involved in this one, and honestly, just a little bit about. So we're gonna start with Aether. So man, how did you get into this puzzle? Like, kind of give us a little background on your Destiny history and just kind of how you managed to get yourself in it, and kind of what's your piece of the big giant puzzle. No pun intended, but pun intended was.
Absolutely. Well, I've been playing Destiny since D1 days. It was a way for me to basically make friends because I wasn't super popular in high school. So I got to come home and play Destiny with my best friend Chris, and because all he did was video games, and so that was the way that we communicated. And then our friendship grew and grew and grew, and then we graduated high school, and we're super close. He's my best friend, and when Destiny 2 came out, I was like, all right, like let's keep going with this thing. I enjoy doing this, so let's keep going. And it's so funny because eventually he's a super huge nerd, and and eventually I surpassed his knowledge of Destiny, and it blew his mind. But Destiny for me has always been about making friends, about making connections with other people. So the next natural way to do that, of course, is to get involved with the community. I've been super involved with the community now since Season of the Drifter. Was when I started getting more involved, and it's been the coolest experience ever. As far as how I got involved with this puzzle, this is actually a super funny story. Um,
So I wasn't sleeping.
when-
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, right, yeah. I didn't feel like sleeping for a week, so
So
I was when the puzzle came out, I was actually at work working on a project, and I was really upset with myself because I couldn't be there to actually check the obelisks, and because I
Mhm,
love puzzles, I
mhm,
love challenges. And so when I got home,
mhm,
I'm like, I want to get involved with this as quick as I can. And it had been about 4 or 5 hours in.
mhm,
And so I basically, I'm like, where's the community at? Let me be
mhm,
wherever the community's at solving this thing.
mhm.
So I got into the nitty gritty with a group from Raid Secrets.
Nice.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. And then it just started becoming entirely memes and chat. No one was focusing on the puzzle, and I got mad. And I'm like, no, 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 we need to focus down on this.
Mhm,
And so Hoplite,
mhm,
who's a mod on Raid Secrets, was
mhm.
like, okay, here, I'm moving you guys to like my private Raid Secrets Discord and
Mm,
giving you guys a channel. You
mhm,
guys just work in there.
mhm,
And so we did. And eventually, once the puzzle was brute forced
mhm,
and so on and so forth,
mhm,
we get to that final room and
mhm,
we get that image, and
mhm,
we're like, oh, this means something. So we
mhm,
started taking screenshots, as naturally the majority of the community did,
mhm,
and posting them in this little Discord group,
mhm,
right? And I said, okay, well, this isn't going to work
mhm.
because we don't know whose is whose, and
Right.
if it changes on the hour, how do we
Mhm,
know which hour you're taking it? I'm like, so this is what
mhm,
we're gonna do. We're gonna take our images, we're gonna
mhm,
put one on top, one on bottom, and you're
mhm.
gonna put your name at the bottom so I know who
Okay.
you are. Around that time, the streamers needed more photos.
Right.
So Hop is like, oh well, I've got a team taking photos right now, pulls all the photos and gives them to the streamers.
Mhm.
And of course, the first one she gives the streamers is mine with my watermarked logo in the bottom corner of the screen.
There we go.
Shameless plug.
So
Shameless
all
plug.
We know
so
who we
all the
are.
streamers were like, "Why the heck did this guy watermark his photo?" They're like, "Don't be this guy. Like please don't be this guy." Because Hop didn't say like the reasoning behind why it was like that. And so I'm like, "Oh no, I don't want to be known as that guy." Because a
Mhm.
lot of these streamers, I know some of them, and then the others that I don't know, I look up to.
Mhm.
I'm like, I don't want to be known for this.
Right, right.
The
I hear
guy
you.
that watermarked his image.
Mhm.
So I started going through every single picture. I went through 250
Wow.
screenshots and found zero matches.
Damn.
Wow.
Um, Dado and his community, I think, found the first match for the puzzle.
Mhm.
And I was like, well, I want to do something and start putting these images together if we're
Mhm.
finding matches.
Mhm.
And so Hop tells everyone, hey, I've got a guy who's DMing me right now going through all these messages. Let's just get him in here.
Mhm.
And so that was the story of how I got involved with it. As far as
Nice.
everything else, I started hand matching these
Mhm.
different puzzle pieces.
Mhm.
And eventually, luckily, TJ came in and had his glorious website that just complete. Imagine if I was still doing that by hand. I mean, we'd still
Oh,
be
forget
here
it. Yeah.
today.
Woo.
And so my role kind of shifted
Mhm.
to art dev team, kind
Mhm.
of
Mhm.
organizing everything, I guess, because none of us were full on managers because we didn't want anyone, we want everyone on an equal level,
Yeah.
basically,
Mhm.
throughout this whole
That's awesome.
project.
That's
And
awesome.
it was my way of getting involved with the community and giving back to the community that gave to me. And it, probably one of the most exciting weeks of my life. I didn't want to sleep, and that's saying something.
That's awesome. That's
Yo,
awesome.
it was crazy, man. The way everybody came together. I mean, the nights everybody's up, just pooling resources and doing that thing. That was a huge responsibility, man. And we
Yeah.
got we got Zycore's little role in this too, right?
Yeah.
Tell
So
us your story,
give
man.
us a little background on Destiny and then how you stumbled into this chaos.
So I've always been a gamer, but everyone laughs at me. I prefer playing my games on my Xbox than my PC. Always have.
You got
So
a
I started
fan.
off
You got a
on.
fan. You're good. You're right in here with
I would yell louder, but I was told not to interrupt.
I
Please
started
continue.
off on Xbox, Destiny 2, and just stayed there. And it wasn't until the cross save came in that I moved over to my PC, um, and started playing more on my PC. I don't really get involved with clans that much. I don't really game that much with other people. I like to chug along and do my own thing and find my own path. And I've meet some brilliant people playing Destiny and people I go back and do raids with every now and then. But I've always kind of been a bit of a loner when it comes to playing Destiny. I like to do everything on my own. And then this puzzle, I didn't actually know about the puzzle until the third day. So I missed the first 2 days, didn't know anything about it, was at work, was not aware of it, got home, started playing Destiny, went to EDZ Obelisk to try and use some Fractaline, and as usual, couldn't actually do anything with it. So I just was staring at these images and I didn't know what they were. So I looked on the internet, looked on raid secrets, and that's when I found it. And so I started digging more. Obviously, puzzle one had already been solved by that point. Started digging, started investigating more. Looked at all the streamers and what they were doing in this other puzzle, this larger puzzle. So it's quite a bit done by that point. There was like 600, 500, 600 pieces found, but an awful lot of them were duplicate. And I just started going through the Reddit posts, finding the different data sources from people, finding all the different spreadsheets that people had shared, going on streams, getting their data sources, and then I pulled them all together, and I had about 7,000 points at that point, individual lines.
Wow.
And started working on different algorithms and AI learning to sort and transcribe them and work out and find the errors. And I found a triple, the first triple that was found. So the same pattern appeared in 3 times. You only thought it could happen twice. And I was trying to get hold of some of the streamers to say, look, is this a mistake? Have you found this? Can you ask your users? Is there any more? And Chevy responded to me and got me in touch with someone in the Glad server.
Okay.
And then I was still trucking through, doing my own thing. And I think I produced one of the second or third maps. So that with the largest data set at that point, it was like 1,023.
Damn.
Right.
And then I just got dragged into a chat with Hop and AJ, and I'm sure it was you, Aetherlore.
Yep.
And was like, where did you get this data from? Where did you build the map from? And I was like, I just got the data from all over the place. And the map I got from this link, which had been leaked at that point. And it just went from there. Our team then, so there was 7 of us, and it took over the master sheet that everything was being fed into from 6 or 7 different streamers, from different communities, from Corridor Crunch, from Reddit, from Boat Explorers. All of that data was being fed into us. And it was the algorithms that I had made and things like that were speeding up the process. And that's kind of why we got it done in 5 days, I think. If we were still using the old spreadsheet, we would have got it done in 6.5. If we were doing it by hand.
We're doing it by hand.
We'd still be there till the 28th. But yeah, that's kind of where I got involved. So I was then on the back end dev team. So after the first day, I didn't really do much transcribing. I was more than improving the algorithms we were using, the AI, to speed up the efficiency and make it more accurate for what we were doing.
Right. And you had a role as far as the not having things match, right? So like people would put incorrect entries and things of that nature. I see you responsible for that. As far as the artwork and stuff like that, I've seen, what you were doing, Ether. I guess my question to both of you is like, when did you guys realize like this thing is taking on a grand, like a bigger scope than you could even imagine? Like, when did it hit like, okay, we're not going to be done in a day? Like, talk to me.
I'll definitely take this one because I remember. So so the first image that circulated of matches to all the streamers
Mhm.
was an image that I created with it literally had like 5 or 10 matches on it. Like it wasn't this big thing. And I was like, oh, this is probably because they pulled me into a trend. They're like, how big do you think this is? And
Mhm.
I'm like, well, we haven't had any matches, so that definitely means this thing's bigger than 50.
Mhm.
And I'm like, this is probably about 100, 150. I'm like, there's no way to tell at this point.
Right.
And here in my feeble little mind, I'm like, oh, this probably only has like 100, 200 pieces. I can't see Bungie going crazier than that. And it was about when we hit
Mhm.
1,000 pieces.
Mm.
So
Mm.
right before we brought in Zycore. And well, Zycore brought in us, really.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, I'm doing this.
Yep.
Get on my train.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it literally was.
There was this moment where I pull Hop into a private chat and I said,
Mhm.
Hop, you don't understand. And she's like, oh yeah, it'll be done by like tonight. I'm like, Hop, you don't understand. I'm like, this thing's big. And like it dawned on us that, oh God, we
Mhm.
might be here for days. And then that was when DMG tweeted out that it would be that it's a marathon.
Marathon. Yes, I remember the tweet. Yes.
And I saw that and I'm like, oh no, there's probably a lot more.
Oh yeah.
and the streamers started figuring out sleep schedules. We started figuring out sleep schedules, and kind of just the immenseness that this puzzle was hits us. And then
Mhm.
again, when we were about 75% done with
Mhm.
it, and we started the slow trugging end trail,
Mhm.
um, and we started getting in thousands of pictures per hour. We were like, this is too big. This
Insane.
might actually be too big because there was no way for us to take care of
Mhm.
everything that was going on at once. And that's why
Mhm.
we ended up having to be like, guys, just don't gather any more data. It's
Right.
probably here. Like,
Because I mean, at this point, and a last question before I give it back to you, E. Because at this point, I mean, you guys are compiling all this data. I mean, initially, I'm assuming you guys are using basic things like Google Docs and stuff like that. This stuff has to be putting so much stress on websites and servers. Like that had to be immense with all these people contributing. Yeah, go for it.
yeah, I'm gonna shoot that right over to Zycore because
Yeah,
there's a story about that.
yeah. Let's get to
All
it,
right,
man.
let's hear it.
So we started off with Google Sheets, and that's where I started off with about 30,000, 40,000 lines.
Mhm.
And it started slowing down a little bit, and there was only me and one other person working on this sheet at the same time. So
Right.
there wasn't many of us.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden it just closed, and then we would reopen it, and then 30 seconds later it would close, and then my phone's going off and I'm ignoring it because I'm not paying any attention. And then I look at my phone and I'm receiving security alerts from Google telling me that if I continue to use as many API calls as I am, that they're going to disable my account.
What? You got the cease and desist? You got
Yeah.
you might be onto something with your hacking?
Google thought we were
Yeah, so
DDoSing them.
Oh my God.
and then
Wow.
they started shutting down share links. So links that we were sharing to access the sheets, they were closing them down because they were receiving too much traffic. They started disabling the links in the sheet themselves because it was creating too many HTML links,
Wow.
parsing links. It started causing massive amounts of RAM usage within Google Chrome.
Wow.
So I had to strip out all of my scripts that I wrote and all of the AI learning that we had and host that locally on a different machine and then remote connecting to the sheet, which
Mm.
caused about like a 1 second delay in process, which wasn't much, but when you're dealing with 30,000 lines, it's annoying when you're scrolling down the page and you're scrolling quicker than it can update the equation.
Yeah,
So,
Wow.
that
Wow.
is. You broke Google.
That
Good
is
job.
like, yeah, man. I mean, that is tremendous because a lot of people don't realize how much stress that would put on it if they're seeing that kind of activity. they're gonna automatically assume something suspicious is happening. You know what I'm saying? So I get it to an extent. So now at that point, you kind of shift because now you have to do things locally, right? And then, the next step then becomes, from what I saw, I'll let you jump in. I just got one more question. From what I saw is that people were getting a little upset that they weren't getting that. The people who wanted to contribute, that they were getting upset that they couldn't get that like real time interaction. So it became almost like a have and have not kind of thing. So like, how did you guys deal with that? With people that are like, yo, we want to contribute, but you guys are like, hey, we have to protect what's going on here. Otherwise, we're going to, we don't want to get attacked by Google or crash down the network with all the stuff we're doing.
Okay, so I'll take this one. So my role shifted as we got to the end of things. So I basically, whenever someone wanted to work with us, right? For some reason, they kept being sent my direction to my Discord DMs. So if they were, if it was a new idea that we could implement without backtracking, we talked to them. In regards to teams, so every team that reached out to us, we reached back to them. At the end of things, I think I was in 6 Discords for other teams trying to kind of like, I guess, keep the peace, for lack of a better term. We were getting data in so fast. And because at this point, everyone's data was already combined together, that means going through duplicate data and trying to find unique entries out of that duplicate data. Well, the way we had it set up through a website, we had a website that had our CSV file on it. There were so many people watching the streamers, they could go to this website, check to see if their entry was unique by searching for it, and then send in the unique image, which takes basically a whole lot of work out of the hands of our team.
Right.
And when the other teams are sending in their stuff to us, at the point we receive their stuff, we already have the pieces that they're looking for because they exist in our chat. So it became to where we weren't able to take in any new data, like I was saying before, and that caused a lot of tension with the teams. They're like, oh, well, why aren't you viewing our data? And I tried to tell them, like, no, your data has been extremely helpful to this entire process. The problem is, we probably already have the data. And we want everyone to be able to contribute to this, but it comes to a time where there's just so much going on.
Right.
It would actually hurt us to put this data in and then try to find, and then the map screws up. Like the map literally takes on amalgamations, and then find where the data is wrong and then fix it and manually go through everything. It's just way easier to, at that point in time, grab the unique entries. And it caused a lot of disruption in the community. People thought we were withholding information or storing information. But every time the map broke, well, why would I give you a map that has wrong data entries in it and is all over the place when I know you're going to use it for pathing purposes?
Right.
You're going to try to find a path. I want to give you the most accurate one that I possibly can. And so at the end of things, there was this whole free the map thing going on in chats, right?
Hashtag free the map.
It was insane.
Let us in. Wow.
And we're like, we don't want to give it to you until we have something to give you. I'm sitting in a chat with my art team getting DM'd by streamers, communities. Because keep in mind, I'm the, like, at this point, the liaison between.
You're like the liaison, yeah. I was just about to say, yep.
And I'm like, listen, as soon as I have something, everyone will receive it at the exact same time. As soon as the website is fixed and can hold our CSV file, our CSV file is going to be up on there. We're not withholding any information. We had to put out public facts on Reddit and live streamed a Q&A.
Stop.
Yeah. and we're like, we're not
Free
trying
the
to
map.
hold anything
Free
from
the
you
map.
guys.
Wow.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to. It just goes to show you how invested everyone was, that you guys had to go to these lengths to really, you're being the liaison and soothing the community who really wants to get involved. Jump in, this is just fun.
No,
I'm like very
I'm
entertained by
just
this.
enjoying all the information. So, no, you guys have been awesome so far already.
Mhm.
I mean, we got the point where obviously you're paying Peacekeeper up there, Ether, pretty much the entire time, and Zycore's over
Mhm.
there, like nose to the grindstone. I just saw you had said in chat you
Yeah.
didn't leave your desk for 2 days. Did you sleep? Like how? Okay, so here's a question:
Yeah, let's get to that.
How
Yeah.
much sleep or
Sleep.
lack thereof did you guys get during this, like basically 1 week span?
Let's get it.
So I was actually working during the remaining 5 days of the puzzle. So I did 2 12-hour shifts at my job, and then went home and then stayed up all night until I started work the day after. Doing the puzzle, then worked, then went home, did another 30 hours then on my days off, sitting at my desk, doing puzzle work. So, and Sleepy Fat Panda as well, no, Fat Sleepy Panda, sorry, I'll get that wrong. Shout at me. Fat Sleepy Panda, she did 42, 45 hours as well, awake, doing the same. So because we were on different sides of or different time zones, there needed to be someone from the very tiny, and I hate saying the word core because it makes it sound like we were more important. That wasn't the case. It was just the tools that we were using to amalgamate the data, to do the check finds, to do the all of this. They couldn't be left because as they're spewing out data, the AI is learning from itself. And if you're not correcting the mistakes on the manual verifications it's giving you, then it would never learn. So we got it to 95.6% accuracy by the end of the puzzle, where it could take the data without looking at the picture and go, that's wrong or that's right. So there was always one of us awake. So Panda and me, kind of not by selection, just out of necessity, one of us was always awake during that period.
Wow.
So yeah, I was at my desk for 2 days and just didn't leave. Ordered pizza, sat at my desk, was drinking,
That's
just
real.
didn't leave. And then got 4 hours sleep and went back to work.
Wow, that's real. Give me some stories, Ether. Give me some stories.
All right. So starting from day one, I got a total of 16 hours of sleep because I
Wow.
calculated it.
Wow.
My average bedtime was 4 a.m. My average wake time was 7 a.m., I believe.
Wow.
And like Zai was saying, like the problem was we were needed. And because we were needed, we would get to the point where we would be excited, right? Because everything was chugging along at this beautiful pace. But we would also start to get irritable. And I think the biggest problem when you've got a whole bunch of people together and they're not sleeping is eventually they're going to just want to be quiet and do their own thing and not be bothered and be irritable. And so the biggest fight in our team basically throughout this entire process was not to kill each other and to continue to like support each other and give each other the support we needed throughout the whole thing, because when you have a whole bunch of people not sleeping, tempers are high.
I can imagine.
You're
I can
basically at your
imagine.
wits' end, like the whole, like those last few days. You guys were just like, all right, you good? Get your data. All right, leave me alone.
We had 2 do not disturb channels.
Woo.
And then me
Yeah.
personally, I'm in web dev, right? That
Oh,
was
nice.
like my channel thing. My channel name was Web Managers.
Mhm.
So I would chill in that very, very quietly, waiting for someone to approach me with a question so I can tell them no. And and at one point, all of the streamers, I'm just sitting there minding my own business. I think I was actually streaming at the time and just streaming, working on different things. And I just hear, "Did-it, did-it, did-it," and I see whenever they move, it's like watching ants go into an anthill because they go up one at a time because how Discord works.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden I hear all these voices in my ear, and I'm like, oh no, they entered my channel. And that was when
Wow.
I started pushing bounties because they wanted me to design bounties. And I actually had to DM Hop because when they were done asking me questions and stuff, they didn't leave the channel. I'm like, Hop, please get them out of my room. I'm gonna go crazy. There's no other rooms for me. Let me hide.
Wow.
So yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, it was pretty wild.
That's intense, man. This wow. I can't even imagine, you know what I'm saying? Like all the different layers, the complexities of each step of this process and all the amount, the hours and stuff. What about other community members, like in general, that you felt maybe kind of really helped out? Because I know you guys, like I said, you guys definitely played a huge part, but obviously it was definitely a lot more community members involved as well. So
Yeah.
like give me some standouts, give me some people that you remember at certain moments had either some great ideas or even just calm the savage beasts with you. Like give us some names out there.
Uh, do you want me to?
So there was
Mhm.
Yeah.
so there's a couple that
Mhm.
we worked with, or we were with the most.
Mhm.
So never remember most people's names. I'm going to
Well,
butcher them if I try and remember
I've
them.
got
So,
I've got a whole list right here. Is
Yeah,
I
let's get
if
let's
you
get some
want?
shout outs. Let's
so
get some
we
credit out there.
so Sleepy Panda was pretty good
Mhm.
at, well, amazing at doing the data entry. Frank was streaming and was
Mhm.
also really good at trying to pull in new people.
Mhm.
Op was brilliant at kind of micromanaging the freelancers or the people that just wanted to come in for an hour or so and help and leave.
Mhm.
Regina was amazing at kind of modding the chats and pointing
Mhm.
back to us the things that we were missing.
Gotcha.
Niris is the
There
king
is.
of the map and
Oh, he's a
Yeah.
beast. Yeah,
Yeah, we've had
had
him
him
all of the
on.
kind of
He
Mhm.
slept for 6
images.
hours, and it was the hardest 6 hours of my life because I had to put out the graphics.
Oh.
So
Yeah, do his
I'm
job.
like, so Zai's sending it over to me, and I'm throwing it up on this thing, and I'm like, I miss Nearest.
Yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
that like he has a talent for that. Like
yeah.
he is a gift. He's so well done. Gets done so well. Continue, Zycore. My fault.
Parasita was kind of also helping with Hop and getting all of the everyone kind of organized. And then the one that I still think is the most important, because
Mhm.
without it, we would still be using Photoshop and do it manually,
Mhm.
or using other tools that potentially weren't as graphical and pleasurable to the eye as TJ with his map tools. If he hadn't created that map software,
Mm.
I don't think we would have been able to validate as well. So TJ's
Mm.
tool helped at the end create the
Absolutely.
bounties because it was telling us the data we needed to know to
Mm.
match up the pieces,
Mm.
which caused the whole Diamond 5-6 fiasco.
Mm.
All right, so explain
To
that
the kind
because I
of
saw that a couple times in chat too.
Yeah,
uh,
let's this Diamond 5-6 stuff. What you talking
uh, if you know, you know.
about?
Yep, we'll just leave it at that.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna leave it at that.
What?
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Is this like inside joke? Like I
This
was
is
in the
inside
secret channel
information?
only?
We'll
I've
explain it,
already,
but we should probably get through your
yeah.
questions first.
Oh, you're good.
Okay. You're good.
I was like, I mean, this has just been kind of part of it too. So you guys like, just if you got any fun stories about
Yeah.
it too, keep going in. So, I
Well,
mean, I honestly am
if you
curious
don't
if.
mind,
No, go ahead.
the so I actually have like a list
Oh, let's
of
go. Yeah.
people. All
Yeah, let's
right,
give it up. Let's give it up.
so a huge shout out to the streamers that worked on this. I haven't given my like official thank you because I've like I want everyone on there, you know.
Absolutely.
So Chevy, who was
Mm.
doing sheets while doing stream, and just he was powering through like his own sheet and filtering in it, and his thing was so accurate, it was insane.
Mm.
CB Gray, Evan
Mm.
F. Evan F actually saved my life during this because there's a point where I was so angry I couldn't function, and I don't get angry, but
Mhm.
and Zai knows this, but it was like 30
Mhm.
minutes where I was just like so angry, and Evan pulled me into laser tag with Devil's Ruin, in private matches and
Nice.
kind of calm me down and relaxing. It was great.
Nice.
And his video is incredible.
Mhm.
Frank, who was all over the place, Glad, who was just managing a crazy chat,
Yeah.
Clyde, Obi, Katie Cat, Fami,
Nice.
Raz, Say No to Rage,
Oh, Lolo, nice.
Scaro, Psycho,
Scarrow.
Swexicle, Vendetta, Zoe, and then T Rex for the beginning portion. The community teams that we worked with, of course, Cat Army, Quarter Crunch, um, and Rick's community, Team Ninja,
Mhm.
Team Raid Secrets, Vault Explorers, and then a huge shout out to my team. Of course, you had Flame, who was all over the place during this and just kicking out data like crazy. Hoplite, Parasito,
Mm.
Raz, 765 Explosives, AC, Fat Sleepy
Salute.
Panda, Haha
Salute.
Bananas, I Have Toes, JP Deathblade, um, the people over in the other teams that were kind of devs and working with me,
Mhm.
Ebuck, Marsh, Senate, and then Hyperflare, who made the original Excel spreadsheet we worked off of. My team, of course, Nearest, Regina, TJ, Zai, except Zai was like all teams. He's all over the place. Nick Sarah, who made the original graphics,
Mhm.
Corbu, who worked on some map stuff, Electrum Whip, Roboto, York Down, and
Wow.
Infinity, and Steph Wiz, who was finding unique entries between all the spreadsheets. And then,
Mhm.
of course, the hundreds of thousands of members of the community who came in and transcribed with us and sat there for long hours, sacrificing their time to help us figure this out. Obviously, I can't list all those names. So if you were involved with this project at all, if you submitted a photo, if you transcribed, if you did any of that, go to
Mhm.
ghostofosiris.com because we have an actual where you can enter in your name and enter in what you did. And the list is already filling up with guardians who were involved with this. And when all the names are in 2 weeks, the site's going to be archived, and you're going to see that giant list of
Wow.
already over thousands of guardians who were submitted photos, um, did map pathing, or even just moral support.
Mm.
Like this is the community's puzzle. This is
Mm.
their puzzle, and we just were able to put it on a graphic for them.
That's awesome. I mean, and shout out to you guys for that because a lot of content creators sometimes wouldn't necessarily do what you guys are doing right now, which is giving the credit to everyone that was involved because it was a true community effort. We definitely know the integral roles you two had, and we respect them. I love that you guys did that, so everyone gets their acknowledgement. They see that, like that's awesome. So shout out to y'all for that. Number one. I was going to transition, but I think you had a question before. I didn't want to interrupt your question.
Just keep
Thingy.
going. We'll get through it.
Okay. Yeah, because I know Zai, we gotta respect his time. But being that we talking about remembering people and remembering stuff, you know, obviously during that period, Damage, these guys, they came out with a statement. And, as far as, how this quest was gonna be handled. And, I know initially it was said it was a marathon, not a sprint. Then we get into that end, you guys get into the finish line, you get in the result, and then it was a little mixed on the ending, should I say? And I guess the first part is, I know we'll get to the reward, but I want to talk about the quest itself because as of right now, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, E. By reset, the corridors of time is gone.
Yep.
Am I
28th, it's
correct?
gone. Yep.
Right. So we all agree, I think we all here agree at the last word that this is one of the coolest things that's happened that brought the community together from a puzzle standpoint. But how do you guys feel about this going away? I need feedback on that. Let's start with Zycore.
So, in a nostalgic way, I'm going to miss it. It's been a really, really engaging puzzle. I've always wanted to be more involved with the Destiny community, and I've always wanted to go to DestinyCon and GuardianCon, but I've never felt like, well, I'm just going to go and it's just going to be people that I don't know. This event has allowed me to meet people that I actually really am excited to go, and I've booked and I'm going, and I'm going to have an amazing time. And that's what that's done for me. Is I've always been involved. I've always been on the fringe and the outskirts. I've never really got involved with puzzles and lore. But this was my puzzle. This was something that my skill set. This was something I was like, I know I can do this. I know I can be involved. I know that I can get this, get where we need to go. I just need help. And if I can convince them that I can help them, then that's amazing. And that's what this puzzle did for me. It kind of brought me into the Destiny community. And that's what I'm really excited for.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really cool when there's some. Yeah,
it's really sad because everyone doesn't get to experience the corridors like we did. There's obviously loads of people arguing the fact that people don't have to run the quest anymore, but that doesn't really bother me. It's just the experience of the I ran that final string, that 30 string, 4 times because I messed it up the first 3. So that's what people don't get to experience. Is they don't get to experience. Yes, it's just another area where there's general ads there, but it's the fun of it. It's being involved in something that the entire community has spent nearly an entire week trying to solve. Was really exciting.
Yeah, I hear you. Ether?
So my opinion on Quarters of Time going away is this was an incredible community experience. A lot of people did not know about this because the 7 days might have been, the 7 days that they took off from Destiny, or maybe they were less engaged with the game and didn't know what was going on. That being said, I feel bad for them, for those people that weren't able to participate, because even just submitting a photo, it's being part of something bigger than yourself in the Destiny community. The fact that the Quarters of Time is going away, I personally am going to miss it because I would love to later on sit in them and just kind of reflect over everything that happened, because this was such an amazing, amazing thing. As far as people not having to run that 30 code, it doesn't bother me, because if they really don't want to be involved with the community, which is fine, and it's a totally viable thing. If you like doing your own thing, then you know what? If they choose not to run it, then they missed out, and it is what it is. I'm not upset about it going away. I'm not upset about the quest being sent to Saint, but I do feel bad for them that they aren't able to experience something as amazing as this.
Yeah. I was gonna let you go because I was going to rant.
No, I was like, I know we got Zycore for just about 5 more minutes. I know you got to go, so I just wanted to kind of ask you. You got something, Ether?
You got something? Ether's got something.
He should explain Diamond 5-6.
Yes.
There you go.
Please
So
do.
leave.
Yes,
So
thank you.
as your
Thank
parting
you.
gift to us, we're gonna ask like, what is this Diamond 5-6, and then just kind of get final thoughts and let you get back to your world, because you jumped in the middle of sneaking away from work. So
Salute.
So by the end of the puzzle, so we released that 400 map, and said there was 540 left or 640 left to go. We released the map and we started getting more data, and we got to a point where we had about 100 pieces left to find, and all of these 100 pieces were all in like the centers of another 5 or another 6, so you could work out what their edges were going to be. We had realized at that point that all the blank pieces were just filler, were not really good for anything. But the ones with the centers were the ones that were building the route. That was the path that we were following. So I filled in all of these fake lines on the spreadsheet, and that's where we were getting our bounties from. Because if you look at the bounty image, we knew what the edges looked like. We just didn't know what the middle looked like.
Right.
So started filling in all of these on the sheet, and I copied a line down from further up in the document and pasted it in the middle of the fake bounties, and that included the center being filled out as a diamond. And then refreshed the map, and bang, map was complete. And the final piece that was missing was the diamond piece that I put in. So before I had a chance to remove the center icon, so that it then unfinished the map, so that people didn't think that was the solution, someone screenshotted it and it was shared, and that was it. That was the solution that was out there. So when we were in Glad's channel, obviously, in Glad's server, and I'm watching Glad on stream whilst doing this, and I'm sitting there, and I won't swear on your stream because I don't know if you do or not, but I'm sitting there and I'm absolutely screaming at everyone in the channel, going, "What the hell? Like, who did it? Who's taken it? Why have you done this? It's wrong. It's fake. I made it up. It was an accident. Why have you shared it?" And it was correct. So the final piece that solved the map was a fake diamond 5-6. And
What?
it wasn't until the day after that someone actually sent me a image of the piece that we found. So we verified it and knew it was real, obviously. But yeah, so diamond 5-6 was either the biggest mistake I've ever made, or it was the biggest fluke I've ever made. Don't really know which one was it.
So like the final path was almost finished by accident to a small point, basically. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But if it was wrong, then people would have questioned any further map or any further route that we put out, saying it was wrong, you've done it wrong. So that's why I was like, oh my god, what the hell? And
He was
yeah,
freaking.
I can imagine.
that's where the diamond 5-6 comes from.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
How many pieces are in the actual map? Like, what's the final tally?
5,040. So factorial 7, because it's Bungie.
Yep.
Of
Of
course.
course. Of
Yep.
course.
Makes
Of
sense.
course. Makes sense. Bungie loves their 7s. You know how they do. Wow.
All right.
This is tremendous.
Well,
There you
Zycore, I
go.
know you got to go. So if you just want to kind of wrap up, let everybody know where they can find you. And we want to thank you for being here, explaining your side of this puzzle. And I think the whole community hopefully can thank you, because they may not know what you built to make this thing possible. But thank you very much for explaining at least a little bit of, to us somewhat layman sometimes, but definitely getting in the mix of everything you built to make this possible. And the whole community did it, but it's like, yeah, thank you. So let them know where they can find you, say hi, give you just a Twitter hello, whatever that may be. So throw it out there.
Yeah, on Twitter. Don't use it that much, so if I don't respond, it's apologies. But at Zycore _ind, IND. That's pretty much it. Don't use any other social media. I really want to start streaming later on in the year, so that maybe I'll find me on Twitch later on in the year. But
Nice.
for now, it's just Discord and Discord and Twitter.
Nice, man.
Still tired.
Didn't we make you get a Twitter during this? Or did you have one prior? We made you get one, right?
I had to reactivate my dead account.
Yeah.
Listen, you are a celebrity now, Zach. To be on point with your Twitter game. People want to hit you up. They want to know who the algorithms, the spreadsheet guru is. You got to appease to the fans now, man. You're a star. No, but all jokes aside, man. Salute. We know you got to run, but thanks for again sharing your piece and your involvement with it. And like I said, hopefully we get you guys back on as well. Love talk to actually see you at GCX and Guardian Con this year, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully with some tattoos and hexagrams and sixes.
Yeah, I will be getting one.
Okay.
We'll be getting
Time in 5-6. Do it like DCP. Put it on your butt.
Salute to DCP. Salute to Zycore, man. Thanks again for coming by. Much appreciated, man. All love.
Bye.
And we are back. Zycore had to run, guys, so thank you very much for sticking with us. We are back for part 2, but Ether is still here, and we got the two of us, so we're going to jump into still a few more questions on this thing, because we got Ether here. He's got the time to chat, but Zycore was kind enough to lend us an hour of his busy actual being functional day because we kind of stole him from a little bit of work, but
Mhm.
do what you got to
A
do.
little bit.
But yeah, like, so, I mean, coming back to this thing, when all this stuff was coming together, I want to ask just a couple kind of specific questions we were trying to get. How did you guys start dividing into like, okay, so here's this, I know you kind of said you had like Hoplite and you had like the art team and like, I know she was involved and you had Frank and like, there were so many different people, but how did you guys start dividing and like, okay, you guys are going to be the streamers. We got the managers hitting people. How did people start getting into these like this org chart of a quarters of time team? So I'm kind of curious how those, was it just out of necessity to be like, screw it, I'm running this part? Or was it just more, hey, it's like you guys want to kind of divide and conquer, do these pieces, how'd it go?
Well, it's crazy because looking at the entire thing, it was shockingly organic. Like it was kind of just something where, when I joined into the Discord, there was just one channel and that was all the streamers. And then there was a channel to pull them in, right? And then Parasito, who's actually a mod on the server, we were like, listen, can we have rooms? Because we had Glad's subscribers have access to those rooms. So we couldn't necessarily like hide and talk unless we were in a private Discord call, but then we wouldn't be able to be pulled in if we were needed with the streamers. So what Parasito did is he made these corridors channels, and it was just originally quarters 1, quarters 2, quarters 3, and then it was me, Hop, and the streamers basically, and then these mods. And I hopped into the streamers' streams and I'm like, listen, because I had a Photoshop template and I was making each of these individual pieces by hand. And I was like, listen, I need people that know how to use Photoshop and I need them right now. Like
Let's go.
I'm like, there's no way I can do all these puzzle pieces myself by hand. And so Chevy said on his stream, he's like, someone contact Nearest, get Nearest over to Ether. And then Regina was pulled in as well. And because she knew how to use Photoshop and was a huge help in the beginning stages. And then when Nearest popped into my DMs, right? So obviously I'm a streamer. And I have a Discord community and I'm involved in LFGs. I share his graphics every single week. So I knew who he was. And as someone who works in graphic design, he was like one of the people I looked up to. I'm like, I wish I could do what he does. And so when he slid into my DMs, I freaked. And he's like, can I be on your art team? I'm like, yes, please come in immediately. Let's go. Let's
easiest
go.
Easiest yes
Let's
ever.
go.
Absolutely. And then I had Regina
up.
too. And I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, I've got a team. I can actually do this. I might be able to actually handle this because it's probably only like 100 pieces. Yeah.
Not even realizing, about that. Not even realizing how big the scope of this thing is.
And so originally it was just the art team and then the streamers and Hop. And then it evolved over time because I went to bed and I woke up and all of a sudden there's new channels. And there's a data managing team. There's a team for just transcribing. There's, a channel for bringing in people that want to work with us and talking to them. And the hardest part was getting other teams to trust us because some of you guys may remember Outbreak and the aftermath of that. But I made sure when I talked to every single person, I said, listen, you are receiving the map at the exact same time as everyone. When a map update was ready, it went boom, streamers at the same time, Twitter at the same time, these community Discords.
Gotcha.
Because I wanted to make sure everyone was on the exact same playing field and knew they could trust us with their data. And there was people that were open and shared their data with us and blessed them. There were also people who took their data and kind of just went like this, but then also took our data and they're like, we're going to solve this first.
Oh,
and the thing is, it's bigger at the end they realized, okay, it's way bigger than something
Bigger
just
than-
we could do.
Yep.
And
Good.
because we were pulling in the most amount of data, it was just easier for us to lock up these spreadsheets. Because that was the other thing too. People are like, why are you locking your spreadsheets? Well, Google thinks we're DDoSing them. And
Yeah,
then
gotcha.
someone will take the link to our data, go in, grab all the data, and then the people who stay up for 6, 7 days, right? All of a sudden, the work they did over the 6, 7 days is showing up in a more complete form somewhere else. Just by someone who's not even working, just pulling data in and
Just
throwing it
pulling
out. And I was like, no, I don't like that. Let's just bring everyone into the team.
Yeah.
Let's kind of get I wanted everyone to be involved with this, and that was kind of my goal this entire time. So I'm so sorry I forgot the original question.
No, you pretty much covered it.
That's
I was just honestly curious how people kind of fell into teams, but it sounds like
Okay,
it was pretty organic. Just hey,
Organic.
things kind of happened. You woke up like, okay, now we've got a data team. We've got the streamers talking like whether who's on sleeping shifts and stuff like that. It sounds like it was just out of necessity more than anything, just because. Okay, so we have thousands of these things. Somebody's built a program for this. All right, we need people managing this website. Okay, you got Nearest and the art team here doing these things. Couple people talking between teams, streamers working together. And then as you say, and some people are trying to be that first person, not realizing it's better than any first team could ever hope to do, because it's going to take, as you said, 5,400 images, or 5,040, I'm sorry.
Yep.
5,040 images to make this thing, and you're only getting duplicates. Like, how many actual, do you guys have like a random number of how many total entries were there, out like duplicates
Yeah.
included? Just how many
yeah.
images did you guys finally get in total?
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna actually pull up the numbers because I don't trust my memory.
That's fair. You haven't slept much.
Cool.
Well, I have slept now, for the record.
Nice.
I have definitely done a lot of just passed out, wake up, don't even know I slept.
You've heard it, sir.
So final numbers. Gotta
It's
figure
like
out
I can
exactly
only imagine. No, you're
who I
fine.
sent
Like
them to.
they are crazy. So yeah, it's like I find it interesting though, while you're looking that one up, that we actually had a point where Google's like, hey, this is not a good thing. Like, what are you guys doing? Like, you actually have somebody that scale saying, yeah, you can't do this. But people don't realize as well, you're like, I don't want this spreadsheet to break, so I have to lock it. And then people are getting mad, and you're like, and there's no way that communication can get to all the people fast enough. There's no way you can get to all the people trying to submit to be, why is this locked? We're trying to help. Quit, being this type of person. It's like we gotta like pull back on the reins a little bit just to keep this thing alive. That's honestly didn't picture that you guys actually had to get to that point. That's so crazy.
Yeah, it was insane.
I'm so interested to hear like the I wouldn't call it infighting, but just like, people thinking that they're gonna have their own little separate agenda, not realizing how big the scope is. And that's the cool part, that it forced everyone to get together. It forced them to look at what you guys were doing and say, you know what? Let's all collaborate. Let's all pull from this singular resource. Because that's funny.
yeah, it was.
People hilarious.
It was insane. At the end of it, I'm just like, why are you guys not like at this point?
I am gonna hoard the data and I'm gonna solve it.
Just
by myself.
It's a community thing. Let's just all do this thing together. And that was the hardest thing to like get through to people, because so many people viewed this as a world's first race.
Yes, good point.
But that is absolutely not. Bungie was like, no. They even tweeted, there's no world's first. And that was the hardest thing, I think, for people to understand, is that it wasn't a race to be the first person to solve it. It was going to have to be an entire community thing.
Fair enough.
So I can't find the actual numbers, but I can give you an estimate.
Yeah, that's
sure.
So we received over 40K.
Wow.
And that was or I think it was actually way more than that. Hold on. You know what I can do to figure this out right now? Just message the group. How many entries did we have total? I wish Zycore was here, because I think he's got the actual breakdown.
No, that's still. But I mean,
but
you
it
hear that
was
number.
over 40K. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Mhm.
I mean, and that is something that, and this is when we were talking last week, actually, on Last Word, um, because of where it was, kind of in the point where it was, we didn't quite know the scale. We saw the pictures getting bigger and bigger, and I even said it to him, and I was honestly just
Mhm.
like, I was like, if you guys are on the right path, like I was wondering, I was like, is this something to where, because normally if they'd done like a
Oh, yeah,
smaller
yeah,
fire
yeah.
team could solve this, like it was like, hey, a group of 6, if you knew binary, whatever it was, like you could eventually get to a point where like a small group of people with the right skill set could do this. And I was
Mhm.
just like, and I was honestly like racking my brain. I'm like, either Bungie took the biggest gamble in their community, which they did, and it paid off big time. It was awesome.
Mhm, mhm.
Or they're like, there's an overthinking going and you're not getting images that are really going to talk or something of that nature.
Right.
And when it finally got to the point when I saw the big chunk, the big rectangle finally, like, I was like, damn, like they really went for the
Humongous,
glory. And
bro.
I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
it's,
Scope is insane.
yeah. So it's just the scale
Insane.
of this thing. And
Mhm.
they expected it to be longer, of course. But either way,
Mhm.
just the fact that you guys were able to do what you did. Now, switching, if you get an answer, feel free to tell us if you get that final number.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The reward. So what you guys are going through this thing while you guys were in the middle of it, before you even got there had to be talks in like your Discord things or, hey, Hoplite, what do you think this is gonna be? Or what were the speculations?
Here
What
we
was
go.
the feeling in the week of like no sleeping, you're hallucinating? Like what do you guys think might have happened? What were all the theories of what was coming?
Yeah, so just theories in general were very
Mm.
interesting throughout this whole thing. At one point, we actually thought, for example, that every blank space might at some point be a symbol, and we might have to wait for that symbol to come around on that blank space, um, due to a duplicate
Wow.
and
Wow.
and something transcribed wrong. But in regards to the actual reward for this,
Mhm.
so we knew from the beginning, due to the data mine voice lines, about
Mhm.
the dialogue of Saint
Right.
14.
Yes.
So we knew that that was going on.
Mhm.
So our theory, of course, as well as the rest of the Destiny community, we were all sitting in a voice chat and we said, you know what? It's Razorlight. It has to be Razorlight or Death Drinker.
Dark
Yeah,
Drinker
Dark
or
Drinker.
Dark
Dark
Yep.
Drinker.
Caster.
Yeah.
Dark Drinker. Mhm.
And they're like, we're all like, it has to be that, right? Because there's no way it's Bastion. Like, those were the exact words said. We were like, oh, it better not be Bastion.
That was on the process of elimination block.
And,
like,
and the
yeah, there's
funny
no way it's
thing
gonna be
is,
Bastion.
when that was stated, I thought Bastion was a pulse rifle because I misread the
Mhm.
information.
Right.
And so I love Bastion's one of my top 10 favorite words. I actually have a list
Mhm.
of my top 10 favorite words, and one of them
Mhm.
is the word Bastion.
Mhm.
And I really enjoy pulse rifles.
Mhm.
So I'm like, oh, come on, guys. Like, it's not that bad. If it's Bastion, that's A-okay.
Right.
Not realizing in
Good.
my head it's a fusion rifle. And how and as a PvE player primarily, that's the worst gun.
Yeah,
and
not that great.
and so once I found out it was a fusion rifle, my heart just sank. And then when we were doing the run and we realized that the reward was Bastion, like in the back of our minds, we all knew it was Bastion.
The disgust.
We just didn't want to admit to ourselves that it was Bastion. And we got through with the final quest, and there it was. And
Yeah.
we kept our hopes up that maybe it has a perk that just makes it not need a charge time. And no, definitely not. So yeah, we theorized about that. We theorized at one point. We theorized, this was actually my theory, that the map was top and bottom based off of looking through the glass and then looking up and seeing the things. So there was also the idea at one point we were like, the map's 3-dimensional and has multiple levels. We were talking about possibly elevators being a thing.
Wow.
We've been over some crazy
I
theories.
was like, my brother came in at one point and he looked down. It's like because it has the major hex in the middle and then everything kind of tapers off. And you're like, is this one big giant sphere? That would be another idea, how you could literally just start laying the pieces around a circle and get them to connect that way. I was like, oh, that's going to take a hell of an art team. Somebody sitting there and just like a 3D render program and just spinning this globe. Like, how the hell is this going to work?
At one point, we thought it was a bunch of engrams attached together.
Oh no!
Oh god, I could see that though, because it's all over the game and it has that. Yep, I could definitely see that shape in there as well. So you have like a 3-dimensional engram, and then like you could print this thing out with a 3D printer. That would be too funny.
But Bungie, if you hear this, don't get ideas.
Yeah, no.
My team's only so good.
I was like, art teams working with 2D is plenty. With 5,000 images, we don't need to start making 3D models of stuff. Like somebody's out there with just CAD, like making crap. Like that would be too. Oh, that would be crazy.
That's too funny. Yeah, man. That was definitely a point of contention, E. You know, as far as the whole reward, I mean, I'll be honest. You know, I'll jump in. You know,
it's like it's your turn now. You're part of this thing now.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it's like this. You know, we've had this discussion on Last Word as far as these type of quests, which is you had, you know, Devil's Ruin, which is very short, lore heavy, you know, with little voice stuff, and then you have something like this, you know. And we've talked about this ad nauseum before. My feeling is both can coexist, right? I'm actually more of a fan of the first, you know what I'm saying, because I got more of the banter from San 14, Osiris, and Shax. But this was cool because the entire community came together, and seeing it on this scope, amazing. But you know, I was watching from the outsides because I'm like, I'm gonna let the people who are smarter than me handle this, but I'm gonna watch, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm watching. I'm like, okay, they're getting the, you know, damn, this thing, you know. I kind of was like you said, Ether, like, wow, this thing is way bigger in scope. Like, this is not like, I'm like, oh, they're 2 days, they'll knock this out, you know. And then I'm seeing this map, and I'm like, this is insane. Like, this is crazy. Like, wow, like how deep intricate this is. And then, you know, the day finally comes and they solve it. And you're like, wow. Now, the lore part with Saint 14's dialogue, which had been data mined that we knew, fire. I love that. You know what I'm saying? We talked about that and what that could be, a potential reality and yada, yada, yada with your guardian. But then the reward. And again, you know, I think it comes down to this for me. You know, the fact that we knew Bastion was on the map, the roadmap, really hurt a little bit because it's like, damn, if we didn't know it, I think it'd be received better because you're like, okay, this is cool, unknown thing, let's test it out. You know, even if it wasn't that great, you still didn't know it was new. Is the level of excitement, right? For the first time. But knowing it really struggled. And I kind of struggled. I don't know if you saw, you know, Damage's tweet explaining why it was, you know, and he's like, look, you know, we had to let the season pass annual pass on buyers know whether or not they're going to pick it up by showing the value of this specific season pass. And I get that to an extent from a marketing standpoint, but you could still say new exotic without showing it, you know. And then the second part, and I know E, me and you about to go in on this part, is that, you know, it comes a guy like me, let's just say I don't have time this week and I don't do it, right? So I literally will just go up to Saint 14, he'll hand me a quest, and he'll say, do these other things, very short, very easy, and get Bastion. And I'm like, really? like that to me, you know, I understand if it can't stay for a for a long time, but such a quick cutoff and quick turn, it's just a disrespect to the work that you guys did, in my opinion. I'm just being real about it. Like, I feel this is something that people need to experience. So even if it can't stay the whole season, it shouldn't be like, okay, the minute you solve it, next week, shut it down. Right? You know, it's a tough pill to swallow because I think this thing kind of needs to be immortalized as a Destiny moment. And last point I'll make, you know, I know Luke's thing is, you know, Luke Smith has come on with the director's cut, you know, you should have been there kind of thing. But this level of involvement, this level of community, you know, you have to respect the community. I think they fumbled the ball slightly with that. You got to respect the community with that. And if they're going to make it something on the roadmap, don't show it, don't name it, just say secret exotic quest, you know? And I think it would have received better. Me personally, I would have liked Vex Mythic class, but hey, you can't get everything. Or a sword, but you can't get a Galahorn, but you know, you can't get everything. But that's all I got to say. E, I'm going to give it to you. Where are you at with this? We were texting during a lot of this, so I want to know where you at with it, man.
So for me, it was like I was kind of in the same thing. Like when it started, I was like, okay, so we got the first 19 symbols, and it sucked for me, even just on the first section, just the first 19. I was like, okay, so I had Tuesday off. Cool. I planned for this one. I had to work at 5 o'clock the next morning. I'm like, I have to sleep. I have to get up in the morning. I have to work. I was like, I went to bed at like 10 o'clock. Nope. Ended up being about 11. So I got like 4, maybe 5 hours of sleep. Woke up, checked Twitter, and I was like, I even set my alarm early because I was like, time-wise, like you guys are going to be almost done by the time I wake up. And I literally woke up and I was like, I didn't have enough time to run it, but I was like, oh, it's solved. Wait, there's more? And then I was like, I'm at work. Like every break I get, I'm like, look at my phone, seeing what's going on with everybody. And then I start to see how big it is. And that's where I was like, you guys, like, I want to ask, I'll have a couple questions for you, Ether, when we get back to you. But I was like, I got to the point where I was like, I ran through and I was just like, all right, because we had the 19 hours at first. And we're like, okay, we know these are going to be 19 hours. There's no real way to rush this. Can't do anything faster. In that interim, I was sitting there streaming that night and I was like, all right, so I'm going to do this stupid thing of when you go in a maze, you always go left just to see what happens. And I was like, all right, so I took Hex every time. And my unfortunate bad luck that I picked that one first, I made a loop back to that original room in 14 doors. And I was like, wait a minute, how's that? Like, that's really small. And that's why when I was wondering if you guys had overthought, because I was like, no. Then I was like, okay, let me try the next symbol. And it was Clover. And I went 30 Clover doors without a repeat. I was like, this is going to be a lot bigger than I thought. Because you start doing the math of like 5 times 5 times 5, or 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. And I was like, and then if you take the types of rooms with and without lasers, electric floor, I'm like, there's like 925 or even more rooms that you can have in this whole thing. I was like, there's no way in hell I'm going to find all this just to see if I could, like, I was trying to see is like, I'll send you a graphic just so you can see. I got bored in Photoshop. I was like, I was taking an image of what it looked like. So I was like, okay, so it's the tree room with lasers. And then around the corner of each room for like a station, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in Photoshop. I was like, diamond, clover, hex, snake, whatever. And then I would draw a path going from Clover to the next one. I was like, can I get another connection path? And I was like, this is just in the first 19 hours. And then I saw what you guys did wrong. Yeah, 72,000 wrong rooms. It's a stupid number of wrong rooms. It's crazy. So
shout out to
I was like, after I did my first attempt, I was like, all right, I put my brain through a little bit just for fun on that one. And then I saw what you guys were doing. I was like, all right, now I'll just help do images and that type of thing. But even just my effort in that, just to see like mess around in corridors, just to mess around in that 19 hours, I was like, I was toying around in there. I was like seeing what you can do, how many wrong places you could go, the effort that everybody in the community put together. And then literally it was you guys solved it Monday. And it wasn't even Tuesday that we had that tweet saying, hey, it's going to be gone. And I was like, whoa. Like it was like, I understand seasonal activities, though they want stuff to be there. Hey, you got to be there for a little bit. Vex Offensive was 3 weeks long. You guys solved, and it's gone faster than Vex Offensive was even, or the final assault was even here. So like, that's too damn, like, I understand people like, hey, why would I go through the 30-piece puzzle? I was like, to experience it. If you have the season pass, if you're in here at this moment, it could collapse at the end of the season. And I could understand, hey, Mercury is going to do whatever it's going to do. We don't know how things are going to end. We have 3 weeks on the road map of nothing. We don't know where it's going to end. But at some point, it should be a chance to be experienced. I mean, if you take things like Whisper, take things like 0 Hour, you still take Outbreak Original in Destiny 1, you take those types of things, like you had to still go through Outbreak, and yeah, you had to put in the puzzle pieces, but you still had to go put in the puzzle pieces, stand on this one, get your code. You still had to do it. So like somebody could be like, hey, what's the 30 room code? Okay, go run it. They still, I think personally, should have to run the 30 room code to see.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
And just as you're running through, like, oh crap.
Because they need to understand the level of the intricacy. Yeah. That could help them, like, wow. Because let's say you're running it, even though you know it, but if you mess up, you're like, oh man, like
I got to do it again.
They need to understand. Yeah, they need to understand it. Before you give it back to Ether, what about where do you stand with Bastion on that map and Bastion? Like, I need to know where you at with that.
So for me, I was like, we've had multiple discussions about this, but when it comes to exotics, for one, they're really starting to get watered down where they don't feel like, they said it before a while back. It was like, we want exotics to feel exotic. You and I said that in like the first year of this podcast. I was like, that exotic title, if you're going to make it like that yellow box, it needs to feel exotic.
Right.
Now, literally, you open your first season pass box on the first day, bam, here's an exotic. Like, the effort to get it isn't there.
Right.
Then you do something like this and make it this really extreme thing. And it's the same thing that's on the roadmap, I think, is an issue for me, because the roadmap is, this puzzle was not on the roadmap. So don't put the reward on the roadmap. You could be like, and you have 3, you like, even if Devil's Ruin is like a simple quest, you know it's going to start that day, fine, that one's on the roadmap. Have like just, be like what would it be? A January, just a question mark. Literally a box that just says January. And it's just a question mark. We don't know what it is. We don't know what the gun's going to be. And it could have been, at least it looks gorgeous. And if you know, you 100% know when you start the season that this is going to be tied to this insanity community puzzle, take the picture off the season page so we don't know it's there.
I agree.
Like,
I agree.
And I know people are going to data mine, but it was on the calendar and we expected it the whole time. And for me, it was however good the gun could have been. We knew it was coming. We saw the little like half a second preview clip of like the animation of it firing in the season preview video. And then by the time we got it, I was kind of like, just the wind, just same as you guys. Like the wind was just like taken completely out of my sails by the time this whole process is done. I roll over Friday morning or Monday morning and I'm like, oh. Like it was, they solved and here's the reward. I was like,
seriously? The reactions on stream are classic for people.
Brutal.
Yeah, let's get you through this. I gotta know. I gotta know.
Okay, so
the sigh. Here you go. Let it all out. Let it all out.
So you have to look at it as the previous puzzles we've had. So for Niobe Labs, obviously you can still go into that room and then do the final puzzle and fight all those bosses and get the emblem and the ghost, right?
Yep.
It's a good reward for the experience that happened with the puzzle, and there's nothing like that for Corridors. Corridors does not have, even with sending Bastion to Saint 14 and then the players can get it, I'm almost glad Corridors of Time is closing, because it is an experience that other people who didn't go through this entire puzzle thing, they don't get to experience Corridors of Time, which I'm okay with. I'm going to miss Corridors of Time because of the hours that I sat in there, days I sat in there. But it does close it off. I think what Bungie needed to do was to have the people that ran it in the first 24 hours receive an emblem. Or if they can't run through it the first 24 hours, have something where they have to fight a boss. I think a boss fight needed to be at the end of that 30 path. I think you had to run through the 30 path, fight a boss, and then you get the weapon core. Like I think the dialogue and everything was good, but I think what needed to happen was you need to have a boss fight. So that would leave it open for people to later run that, do some crazy boss fight, and receive the weapon core, and be able to go about Bastion that way. The fact that it was sent straight to Saint 14 hurts. The gun itself, which I have now used in a legit Last Wish run, ran through all Last Wish using only Bastion for boss damage. I did Garden of Salvation, only Bastion for everything except final boss. And the gun itself is not bad. It's and of course I bought the decoration for it.
You had to. As you should have visited Tess.
I think that it's going to be very weird when the 28th comes around and it's not there. I wonder what the effects that we have on the timeline. I wonder what Bungie, because Bungie's sitting in a room right now being like, how the heck do we fix this? Because so many people are upset over this. I'm glad I went to Saint 14 because people that didn't experience Corridors of Time in those 7 days aren't going to be able to experience Corridors of Time, which I'm okay with. I'm going to miss that. However, the quest itself to get it, the dialogue, the lore to it is incredible.
Yeah.
The lore behind the actual weapon, if you look at the lore tab for it, if you look at the thing that gets put in your inventory, is phenomenal. It's right up there with top level Bungie. I'm just curious to see how this gun is going to factor in over the rest of the season and lead to our eventual demise, whether it be in this timeline or another one.
Right. What do you feel about now that, obviously it was revealed, it was on the roadmap, and then at that moment, then Bungie says, okay, the rest of the community, you go in, you get it. Do you think that maybe it would lessen the blow if there was also an additional, if they're going to remove it, if they add like an additional part of the quest or a catalyst or something else to kind of ease that blow? Do you think that could have kind of helped out?
Oh, absolutely. I think if they had some sort of catalyst that involved an activity regarding the Quarters of Time, that would be incredible. If they took Quarters of Time, which obviously so much of the community has poured their heart into, and later on bring it back as a 0-hour type mission where you get an emblem or the catalyst at the end, I think that would be incredible. That would be a very, very good idea on Bungie end, and Bungie, you can steal that idea from me, please.
Go nuts.
But
I like that.
But an emblem or a ghost shell attached to this would have been extremely nice, and I've talked about that before. But in regards to the catalyst, I want to see some people do the type of work that we did.
It seems justified to for you guys went level 6,000, power level 9,000. You guys went crazy for it. So to have somebody literally walk up to Saint, and this is where I have the issue too, is like, if I was literally on vacation for 2 weeks, I would have missed the entire thing within a 3-month season pass. Like, why? I guess my issue is like, understand it could leave. Even if it was like, maybe it's a month and be like, hey, it's starting to destabilize, we're getting close. So like, but it just feels so short and confined for time from when it went live to when they're cutting it off.
Right.
That's my issue for, as you're saying, for people to experience the boss fight. I would love to see one of those when we went through and we got Xenophage. The boss fight at the end, like that was its own room. Not a big, I mean, not saying anything in this game is easy to develop, but they have the rooms. What if you went through and you're like, okay, so there's like maybe 2 bosses you got to fight. So you might actually have to bring a second person because it's maybe something like the idea of a boss fight would have been really cool for the catalyst, an emblem, a ghost. Literally any of the cosmetic stuff they throw at us for doing crazy things. Like you do the Niobe Labs puzzle, you get a damn emblem most of the time. And you're like, I can't even get that for this. We went 11 through and like, even just if you did type in the 30 code, you do get the weapon, but there's no thing that other people are going to get the weapons. There's nothing saying you did the 30 code. I guess that's one piece.
Yeah,
that's a valid point.
That's it right there.
That's valid. I didn't even think about that. You're right.
Because everyone can get that gun. So it's not really a memorial of the event. But
I mean, at the very least, the ornament should be given to those who did it. You know what I'm saying? Because you're right. It almost should be like a Redrick's Claymore situation. Remember when they had like a separate, ornament or whatever it is, something to signify like, look, this was done through Quarters of Time. You can never get this. This group is specifically, they adored it, and this is their reward for doing it. And you got 1 week. And to your point, E, it is weird because what they said about, those moments that are not going to last long, but they told us it would last throughout the season. So again, in defense of Bungie, we don't know how they're going to change. And there must be some reason, I'm hoping, why Corridors of Time must leave right now. Like, why must it leave right, this next coming week? I hope it's a very good reason. But, that's the part I struggle with because we were told that the season things would kind of remain in the season. Not like, in 2 weeks and it's gone and then that's it kind of thing. So, yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, it's been an amazing puzzle and work that they did, and then it's just like the final 5 yards of this entire 100-yard dash was
Yeah.
a little bit of a stumble in the end, just in kind of the final execution, the move, the like lack of acknowledgement or some type of specific thing to say, you guys did amazing stuff. Maybe it's not here forever, but if you did this, you've got it to take with you, as opposed to everybody who can, basically trip into a gun, never having to see the corridors of time. It just, I feel like they're taken away from, well, literally hundreds of hours of streamers and more sleep lost than probably should have been between a lot of people. And it's just kind of a weird feeling at the end of it.
At this point, they should get a raid jacket.
Listen,
they gotta give
a quarters of time
They
t-shirt.
gotta give y'all something. Ether. Listen. If there's a petition that y'all need a special shirt with a special code, just like they do every other exotic. If you went quarters of time, you put your 777 in, and you get that shirt. You guys killed it. I mean, people weren't getting sleep. Like this was crazy. This was like algorithms and algebra, and this is real out here.
Well, I hate to say this, but I mean it is classic Bungie.
Oh yeah, vintage.
At the very, very end of something, whether it be a season or whether it be there's just this, and that's it.
That's it.
like you hit the climax, right? And it starts going down, and then it stops halfway down the hill. That's it. It's done.
Yeah.
It's been fine. And I think part of that has to go with how hard the team gets pushed to put out content. I think that is 100% what it is, because the community is like,
I agree.
Nothing to do. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And then Bungie's like, okay, we gotta, come on guys, what have we got? Ideas, round table, let's do this. And then they're like, okay, well, we figured out the whole story of this event thing, and how are we gonna finish this off with a bang? Boom, weapon. So I think. And then they don't think about the, longevity, or like the what comes after. They're going moment by moment.
Yeah.
You look at their calendar, and it's individual moments on that calendar that cause this chain reaction across the calendar. But when you get to the end chain reaction, it's just kind of
abrupt and
That's it.
Shout out to W.
Cut.
Yeah, shout out to WG Press. He says this Sopranos finale ending of the Shadow Keep. Yeah, it is. the thing is, I think you nailed it. And this is what we've been saying on The Last Word for a while. I think as much as we love a free and independent Bungie, this is kind of the stuff that it's going to happen. And we're starting to see happen without a Vicarious Visions, without a High Moon Studios, without an Activision. It's like, they got these great ideas, and like you said, lore wise, this was amazing.
Yeah.
Now, lore wise, they're killing it, because this is what I've always complained about. Things lore wise are in the best space it's ever been, but it's just now finishing it and driving it home, right? We had that issue with Undying Mind, you know what I'm saying? We now is this, and it's like and just that continuity to make you feel satisfied at the end and go, you know what? That's what I'm talking. Because literally, if they do all this stuff, we would be praising them from high heavens. We'd be like, this is the greatest thing ever. Oh my God. And it's little things we're asking for, right?
Yeah.
So if these little things that they can't do, it has to be, in my opinion, a resource thing. And then kind of like on to the next. And, you just hope that, I don't know if it's another team could come in, or this Eververse money that we're giving, something can help out, kind of thing. But I think you have nailed it. You did nail it there.
Yeah. So as we look at the roadmap, now the 28th is empty because we have that already. Yeah. And then we get to the 4th of the Empyrean Foundation and then the Sundial. Now I'm going to take Crimson Days out of there because that doesn't matter for this discussion of lore and PvE and stuff. It's happy Valentine's. It's short-lived. But you have, I mean, it's not the longest thing in the world. So you have from February 4th with the Empyrean Foundation and Enotom as the last Scion. Not entirely sure how that's going to work. But we literally have, from that launch, 5 weeks until the end. Now, they told us about Vex Offensive, Final Assault.
Right.
That went over really poorly because it was just literally rescreen a boss. And I know that's giving it not enough credit, but basically it was almost the same damn room.
Mhm.
In all of your discussions in this as well, did you guys ever get to a point, or even just you yourself, of what is the foundation and what do you think can wrap this season? Because they give you a puzzle without the, happy ending. How do you
Mhm.
get to the end of this season? And
That's
how do
a
you
perfect
think, I
analogy.
was like, how do you get to this season and feel, where do you think they can either kind of wrap, and where do you think this one leads, since you're kind of in the mix of all that stuff?
Yeah, so Empyrean Foundation was definitely something that came up in discussion while we were working on this puzzle.
Mhm.
Because as Destiny 2 players, we like to hope for the highest when it comes
Of
to
course.
Bungie, right?
Always.
Of
So
course.
at one point, we assumed that the whole Empyrean Foundation project, because when you are following a natural train of thought, things
Mhm.
just complete themselves. So when someone mentioned Empyrean Foundation to us while we're doing this puzzle, we're like, oh no, what if it's you deposit Fractaline and the piece that you saw in the puzzle gets posted on this giant map for everyone to see?
Mhm.
Which, mind you, would have been the perfect way for Bungie to get everyone involved without having these
Mhm.
like power heads emerge, right? The
Mhm.
easiest way would have been to have a giant map on the wall, so even solo players could do it. Giant map on the wall, and then you go, you view your thing, and then you have to deposit Fractaline in order to put your puzzle piece on the map, and you can see this map fill in real time.
Mhm.
That would be
Um,
amazing, by the way.
so that is
That'd be
what we
amazing.
assumed the Empyrean Foundation was
Mhm.
where you deposit Fractaline and then this pops out. So
Mhm.
at this point, right, then we also considered the missing forge. So
Right.
as you guys know, the running theory is that the old Russia forge is somewhere lost in on Mercury, inside the quarters of time and inside
Mhm.
the infinite forest.
Mhm.
And from that forge, so we assumed like the beacon was like the forge, right? And that there was some weapon attached that we didn't quite know about yet. But then
Mhm.
when we got to the end and we saw the tomb, like that idea was shattered of another
Yeah.
forge coming about
Mhm.
on Mercury, which would be cool if
Mhm.
they released a forge on each planet
Mhm.
every season with a puzzle
Yeah.
like this. I think that would be
Yeah.
great. And it would give us access to weapons outside of the season.
Yep.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
but so yeah, we had a discussion after the entire puzzle was completed about what is Empyrean Foundation.
Right.
We have no clue. We are
Thus.
absolutely as lost as the community is. I'm hoping the only
Mhm.
way that they can finish this out strong for this season is having Empyrean Foundation, because they're really good at alluding to mysteries, right?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So the only way they could have this work is alluding, like if they alluded to the fact that maybe the guardian inside that tomb is not us, right?
Mhm.
Let's say it's someone who sacrificed themselves for us.
Mhm.
So let's say, Saint obviously reads off that touching
Yeah.
memorandum, right? So it can't be
Mhm.
Saint in the box. But what if Osiris
Mhm.
gave up his life? And that would be
Easy.
an
Yeah,
easy way to
Osiris
end that.
fanboy. You gonna stop with these death theories for my man, but it's okay. I'm gonna let you theorize, but continue. I'm a warlock, ridiculous warlock fanboy. Osiris
Sundial
fanboy.
just
Oh yeah.
collapses on
Oh
the
yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
But if he had to do something, I mean, he's tried to protect us, sacrifice his life to protect us before, right?
That's
We
right.
saw
That's
it
right.
in the
Mhm.
I'm forgetting the name of the season, but the Curse of Osiris
Curse.
season. Oh,
Mhm.
that's
Curse.
literally
Mhm.
what it's called. Right.
Yeah, the curse.
That was extremely well done. And
Mhm.
I think Bungie with Saint brings in this very real, tangible idea of sacrifice, right? We never
Mhm.
see the people in the tower that we're protecting.
Mhm.
Think about it. We go out to all these planets and we are protecting them, but we never see the impact on the tower, on the people.
Mhm.
And Saint was a way that we could see that impact. That's why I got more emotional during Saint scenes than I have in most of Destiny's history.
Yeah. Yes.
And it allows us to quote unquote walk among the people and sing.
Mhm. I agree.
And
I agree.
that the only way they can successfully end this is they're going with this whole idea of song. we see Shaq sing, for goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Would be
So bad.
to
Loved
show
it.
the people of whatever we're doing with the Empyrean Foundation isn't focused on other Guardians. If it was focused on the people of the tower, we deposit this fractalite and we're building up this defense of the last city, right? Where eventually we create this impenetrable shield around us, and once again, like a Titan bubble, and once again protect the city from all outside forces, and then have Saint become the speaker or something, and then Osiris sacrifices himself for us. That would be
Stop with the Osiris sacrifice. But I liked everything else you're doing.
that would be an absolute amazing ending for the season, because it would create a tangible feel to the work we do as a Guardian. And I feel like with Crucible and us going and killing other Guardians, and we don't realize mortality as Guardians. We don't look at ourselves and think, well, what if our light went out and we never rest again? We don't think about what our Guardian goes through, having to die and then be revived every single time. We saw it in the Zavala trailer in the beginning of Destiny 2.
It's a great trailer.
Yeah.
But since that, there's no grasp on mortality at all in this.
Right.
And I think bringing people in, saving people like Saint 14, seeing this dialogue about the impact of the tower, I think that is what Bungie needs to end a season, is sacrifice. What makes a video game stand out? Emotional sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
Whether it be us becoming mortal for a moment, like maybe our ghost is down or something, becoming mortal for a moment to save our fellow mortals.
Oh yeah. I've alluded to exactly what you talked about, during the whole dialogue of how ballsy would Bungie be if they allow this future to happen, right? Now, my theory was just that maybe they wouldn't do it as soon, and it seems more of a precursor to Destiny 3, because in my opinion, they'd have to explain, because you know damn well when Destiny 3 starts, we ain't gonna have our guns, we ain't gonna have our exotics. So they're gonna have, there's gonna be a reason that they can't blow up the tower again. We already did that with, with what you call it, with Gaul.
Yeah.
But I do think it's an awesome way, basically going down your path of sacrifice and what it means to be a Guardian and give. I think that's an awesome way to start Destiny 3. So I love that idea. The key with this, like you said too, is going to be how they transition this season to the next, what Empyrean Foundation actually stands for. There's a lot of theories out there, yours is included, as far as also in reference to this being a beacon for Guardians. I've heard things of that nature. Obviously, I'm a PvP guy. I would like some form of trials with Saint leading it. Having, that would be nice. I mean, I'm very convinced that Trials is coming back next season.
28th.
Yeah. Oh.
Think about it.
Talk to me.
Right? Because Bastion no longer exists on the 28th, right?
Right.
The only reason Bastion would be pushed up in the calendar is if they needed to push that out quick, which it is a PvP type weapon. If they had to push that out quick to drop something else that week.
That's the thing,
don't
right?
give my man this hope.
Listen,
don't give him that hope.
Let's go.
We see this stuff all around Saint, right?
Listen.
I know he's covered in Brother Vance threw up in the hangar. So
listen, man, because let's talk about it, right? At the end of the day, they knew, as much as we give them Bungie crap for the way they handled the end, they had a window as to when they think the community would solve this. They put it on the map. Now it's released. So if you're releasing it this early now to the general public ahead of that marker, you must have something in place.
Yeah.
So I would love it to be what you said.
It would be great.
I would. Oh, then it's all forgiven. Oh, corridors, put Trials in that spot. Don't you worry. I will forgive and forget quickly. But all jokes aside, but I do feel something has to happen in that place. Because what's the roadmap, E? After the 28th, what's the next thing?
So Bastion's on the 28th. We know that's yeah. February 4th, Empyrean Foundation is free to every single Destiny player. So no
Mm-hmm.
season pass required, no Shadowkeep required. You just have to have the game, that's weird. Now I know they have access to the obelisks per se, so they could
Right.
do that, but they don't have access to the sundial. Same day on the 4th is also Enotom Oblivion's Triune.
Right.
And I always wondered about too, because when you look before, we had the Hollow Voice, he was Void, Skypiercer was Arc, and then we had Solar for the Sun Eater. And then Enotom's this like 4th, and he's just like monochrome. He's basically gray and black. He doesn't have anything specifically like saying, hey, this is my affinity or whatever he is for type. So I always wondered, that's why I always thought when we saw the Corridors of Time the first time, we might be dealing with him in there, because it is that time where basically it's devoid of color when you're going through the Corridors of Time, black, white, and gray, and nothing else but monochrome. I thought he would be involved in there. Obviously, I'm ultra wrong, because we don't seem to be going back. Unless it is like because I mean, somebody who jumps into the season right now, even if Corridors of Time close, could still do the Saint mission. They just can't explore it openly.
But let's be real, E.
That's Vex, not Cabal.
Not Cabal, yeah. But here's the thing, E. There's got to be a reason why Corridors of Time cannot exist right now. Why next week must it go? There has to be a gameplay programming reason, because it really doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. You know, there's nothing lore-wise that should mess it up, right? So it's got to be something they've got planned that's going to take place in that space or utilize. There's got to be something.
Or,
got to be. I mean,
or they want to keep it special for the community that spent that time. They don't want anyone else, like a limited time, okay, were you there for Corridors of Time kind of deal.
Yeah.
I think
that's short a window? 1 week?
It
2
might
weeks?
be them trying to give back to the community. Like, it might not have been planned to pull Corridors of Time, but they saw the community were like, this isn't special enough, this wasn't limited enough for us. So that might be the reaction to that. I hope it's not. I hope they're pulling it because they want to use the space to test a 0-hour like mission. But for like later in the season launching for a different weapon, hopefully. But I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, man. What you think, Eve?
No, I was like, I mean, it going away seems weird. I mean, the people who come into the end of the season still could technically go get Bastion. They just have to do the other quest and go save Saint and do it. So it's there. Just the whole Enotom with the last Scion. I don't quite know what to expect there. The Empyrean Foundation. All we see in the picture is the entrance to the, Infinite Forest. But outside of that, we have a picture of that. But if when you zoom in on the picture, you're looking at an Infinite Forest that has no opening. It's flat. There's no, it's like it's not even open.
Yeah.
Right.
So again, no idea if it's, some people have wondered, are we going to reset Mercury to the past when it's actually nice? Or are we going to completely change Mercury? Like when this season ends, the sundials goes through this crazy thing, rips out, breaks, and whatever timeline Mercury is set in, that planet is just in a different place. And trust me, I'm not a lore guy, so I'm not, I'm talking out of my butt. So if you got something, go Ether.
So looking at the same picture that you were referring to. So hypothetically here, Mercury, we know there's Mercury past, Mercury present, and Mercury future, right?
Right.
And at any point, it can transition between these. Well, we've already seen it be stuck on Mercury past this season. Here's my opinion.
What you think?
I think Mercury is going to be stuck on Mercury future.
About
the future that exists without us. So us depositing Fractaline is our way of shifting it back to the correct timeline and keeping basically the timeline intact. Because we broke timeline with Corridors of Time. We just did that. We just completely broke the timeline. Bungie has stated that. So if we completely broke the timeline and you got Mercury stuck in this Mercury future, what impact? We already know that Cabal are trying to change the outcome of the Red War in the past. So what if they do? What does that future look like?
So you could see a future Mercury, but not covered in Vex, potentially something else.
Yep. And since Mercury exists outside of the natural order of timelines, right? You can 100% have a future Mercury taking place on all of Mercury, because it is a giant Vex construct.
Mhm. Interesting. That's interesting theory. That's interesting, man. That's interesting.
Sounds like the
Gotta
next
see.
few weeks should be quite interesting.
We're gonna learn a lot.
We got Crimson Days.
Yeah,
Moving past that.
moving past.
But I was like, I'm very curious how they handle the final 3 weeks, because they told us about the final assault, and then they got the feedback on that, which was like,
Mhm.
it's just a boss. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering, they left it open for a reason. Still wondering
Yes.
what that one's gonna be, to where, because now we have, Enotom, somebody's saying Enotom could be taken. I was like, that's the other way you'd be monochrome. But either way, whatever he is, it's still 5 weeks from. The next week is Crimson Days, and you still have 3 weeks. There is something we don't know, and I think
Yeah,
that's
clearly.
that's the biggest question of, we have no clue how the season's gonna wrap, and right now we're all kind of like, is it how it's gonna go? We don't have a clue, and it's
Mhm.
weird to be wondering what truly, like, I don't even know what the hell's gonna happen after the 4th. Like, hey, deposit your 5,000 fractal line,
Yeah,
whatever
then.
that number is,
Mhm.
and then I
Mhm.
don't know if it's gonna be, as you're saying, a community effort to like try and fix Mercury from being like completely broken. Is there going to be a
Mhm.
community tally like we did with the Mars community event, or is like this
Mhm.
number of nightfalls, and they're tracking, hey, the community has entered 7 million fractal line, we need 3 million more to go for that magic, or maybe
Right.
it's 7777, who knows, it's a Bungie number probably, but however you get there, like, when that's done, what else is if you're if you don't play PvE, PvP,
Yeah, what
what is
else?
literally else going on for the season? If I log in, deposit my 5,000, and I'm done, like, that's a
Mhm.
month. That's weird. So I'm
Yeah,
very
there's
curious to see
got to
what
be
comes.
something. There's got to be. There's no question. You can't be at the Crimson Days and that's it. Nah, it's
I
gotta
Yeah,
be
mean,
something.
that'd be a
I
little
mean,
lacking.
you got Season of Redacted around the corner. I
Yep.
mean, I know we're not
Mhm.
quite there yet, but we have no clue what that is. Versus
Yeah.
Dawn, we kind of, you can see it
Mhm.
on the season pass, and that's how we kind of got word
Yeah.
of that. We have absolutely no idea what Redacted is. And
Mhm.
because we have no idea what Redacted is, we have
Mhm.
literally no idea how the season's going to end. So
Exactly.
you
Exactly.
backtrack that and assume they're going to wrap it up in 3 weeks, right? In those 3 weeks, they have to end the season. They have to have Saint
Talk
14
about it.
leave. They have to have the sundial shut down. They have to fix
Mhm.
all the timelines
Mhm.
and set up the story for the next season. So you
Right.
know something has to
Right.
happen in that time
There
that
has
is
there
not
has to
announced.
be a transformative moment. A huge transformative, like you said, you nailed it. Like Sundial is not going to exist. There has to be. What the fate of Saint 14 as a regular NPC.
Yep.
There's a lot of questions. Obviously, Osiris doing Osiris stuff and going back into the timeline or
Yeah, it's like,
Infinite
if the
Forest or whatever.
sundial activity is not going to be there, what is he going to be standing by?
Yep.
Again, that's why it has to be transformative. I mean, all I would say is I would hope that it's something on the scale of Dreaming City, where we
Yes.
didn't know,
Mhm.
right? And then it's like, wow, this cycle, something has happened, and now whether it be with Mercury itself, right? What I'm saying, and it's so transformative, and now this now peels in to the next season, and we get that name because of what has happened on Mercury. Like Mercury completely. I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something. I think you may be on. You get my mind working. I think it is something huge, because like you said, these two major characters, something has to. Right now, things are going too well.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Just things are going too well. We get stuff saved back. Something some cataclysm got to happen to make stuff be ruined for us for a little bit to set up the next season. That's how it goes. That's
Yeah.
how it goes.
Yeah.
Well,
Fun
I
stuff,
know we
man.
are getting close to about 2 hours.
Yeah,
12 was
we
pretty
ran
light.
long.
There's patch notes and
Yeah.
stuff coming. You guys can check what's out there. That's nothing too major. But just
Mhm.
as we get towards the end of this, I mean, is there anything else? I mean, Aether, you've been awesome to have on. Thank you, Zycore. I know you've
Thank
been
you
kind
for
of
rocking
checking
with.
in
Yeah.
secretly from your phone in the middle of
Yes,
work
I
stuff. Like,
see Zyko in the chat.
he's like, I'm here in spirit. But yeah, is there anything else for your experience of this? Anything else you want to see? Just, I mean, where are you sitting right now in the world of Destiny, and like, how are things looking for you? And I mean, are you active? If there is that big break, are you taking a little breather? Are you going to sleep for just like 4 days in a row? Like, what are you going to be doing for a little bit here coming up?
So, ever since switching over to PC, Season of the Drifter, I have not stopped Destiny
PC,
at all.
there we go.
Because I was Xbox prior.
Yo, I'm gonna be real with you.
I
Like,
had
can
to-
I need to interrupt you for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Them frames.
Yeah.
How you dealing with them frames and that field of view? Isn't
Yeah.
it glorious?
So you switched to PC recently. I love building
I
computers. So
cross
what you got?
saved my PC. I got rid of my veteran account because I ended up in a period of 2 weeks getting more Triumph score than I had on Xbox
Oh man.
because of
Facts.
LFGs and
Facts.
and it just I played I did day one garden run
Mhm,
and
Nice.
because I love the day one whole thing.
mhm.
And the next day, I tried to help some Xbox players get it clear.
Woo! Yeah, you were doing the work of kindness. You were doing the Lord's work. You came down from
Could
heaven
not do it.
to talk to the lowly folk with them frames. Oh, don't you just notice it? It's so.
It's like you're in a dream and sleep deprived at the exact same time. But
That's
what I'll
amazing
be doing
metaphor.
the
I
rest
like
of
it.
the season, of course, I will be grinding away. It's been extremely easy to get this seal. I already have all my pinnacle weapons. I already have
gotta get
all
that
of my emblems. My whole collection's complete for this season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hoping for more. I'm going to be raiding. That's what I'm personally going to be
Nice.
doing the rest of this
Nice.
season, helping people
Nice.
through that haven't been through. I think
Nice.
one thing that I can say about this puzzle is one, it got the whole community hype about everything with each other.
Yes.
And that's extremely important because so many times we're stuck into the idea of 3-person fire team, right? You've got dungeons, you've got strikes, you've got nightfalls. We're stuck into this idea of, okay, I just need 2 friends.
Right.
And I see raids being more active now. Just a week after, more raids are being run. I see this excitement in the community to reach out to each other. And I think that Bungie needs to absolutely have events like this in the future.
Yes.
And Bungie, I after this whole experience, I have so much feedback. Like,
nice.
please reach out to me. I would love to talk to you about this.
Let's get you to the summit.
And it makes me hype for Guardian Con because this will be my first
Hell
one.
yeah. That's
I
awesome.
haven't
we
bought
gonna
my
see
ticket
it.
yet or anything. I'm slightly worried about the expenses, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I don't
got
even
this.
care. And
If you got enough people like Airbnb and stuff like
Yeah,
that, there's
exactly.
cheaper ways than the resort. Resort's cool, but
Yeah.
it ain't cheap.
no,
Yeah, check it out.
Airbnb is definitely where I'm looking.
No doubt.
As far as the future of Destiny
Mm.
moving forward from just this puzzle's point of view, I see it being extremely positive, but extremely scary at the same time because Bungie has the ability to bring the community together like this.
Absolutely.
Can they keep doing it? Is
Yeah.
the question.
There's no doubt in my mind. I think, I forgot who I was talking with, and the person I was talking with is more of a hardcore MMO person. It's Dizzy. It was Dizzy. I had a shout out to Dizzy, and he's hardcore MMO, and he's like, look, man, this is what MMOs do. These are these type of grand scheme community moments, and I just think it's all this is dipping their toes in it, getting familiar, seeing what works, seeing what people like, getting it, collecting the feedback, that kind of stuff. I think this is definitely the direction they're going. And again, think about this. We've said this before, E. If they just nail the finishes of these things, right, and these transitions, right, we didn't have a raid, a dungeon, no significant pinnacle PvP activity. But if all these things were just, ironed out with a little cherry on the top, the way we wanted it, we wouldn't be complaining because it's done so well, right? The lore is so well, the community building is so well. So they're so close to perfection with this little model. If they could somehow get enough resources to just iron it out, we'd be all right. We'll be all right. And they know the feedback. They see you guys. and hopefully we get you there to that summit so you can give them that feedback that they need to hear. Because to see you guys, shout out to Zycore as well, do what you did and bring the community together. That kind of stuff is next level. That's why people go crazy for this game.
Yeah.
That's why it's just this insatiable. Me and E, we met at Guardian Con. You know what I'm saying? And as a result, this podcast was born. This is like my brother now. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because of this game. Like that.
Yeah.
How crazy is that? That's the power of Destiny.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
The bonds you guys built during solving this thing, you're gonna be talking with the other, be like, they know who you are. Like that's something that stuff you walk up Guardian Con, be like, dude, and you'll be doing that to like 50 people now when you go there. So like you're gonna have more fans than you know what to do with.
We'll all have matching tattoos.
And you got that tattoo.
You gotta get that picture. Yeah, you gotta get.
So we got to pull up. We got to take the pic. We got to pull up, man. We definitely gonna see you there. This is awesome. This is good stuff. They're on the right track. Like I said, just smooth those landings. Put a little cherry on top. Give us a little dessert. Finish it right, and I'm good to go. I'm good to go.
It's been amazing, and as you said, it's like. We're to the point where it's like they need to iron out just the final pieces of these things. But I mean, you picture the scale of what they did this season and then the puzzle. It's like, what hell crazy thing are they going to throw us in next? What weird Whisper 0 hour binary hexagon puzzle combination of crazy smart people puzzles is going to hit us next time we get to one of these? It's like you can only imagine what they're going to do to us next. But it is kind of pretty amazing what we went through this past couple weeks.
Absolutely. Lifelong friendships gained, watching the whole community come together and do this. This is my favorite thing about Destiny, is watching the community just go crazy with each other. The people that I've met through this, that I'm in contact with, obviously because I was also engaged in the other teams, it's the number is astronomical. I can't even work my Discord inbox right now. Like, it's broken. And
that's a good thing. That's awesome.
This is the type of thing, and people may look at this whole puzzle thing and be like, well, I wasn't directly involved with the core team, so I didn't really gain anything out of this. But you did, because being part of this core team helped me make friendships, yes. But there are so many places in the Destiny community where this same thing is going on. And there's people that run 0 hour every week. There's people that run Whisper every week. And there's Sherpas that you can have teach you raids.
Facts.
And there's so many Discords as well.
Oh god.
All this being pulled together into, we may be individual small little groups in the Destiny 2 community, but when we come together, we're some of the smartest, the strongest, the funniest, and the most caring individuals that I've ever come in contact with in a community.
Well said. There's no game like Destiny. It's
not
even. I'm not even because I'm being biased. I'm old. I've been around. There's no game like that. I've never played a game this long that had this type of an attachment to it, and like you said, births those kinds of relationships. It's a different level, and you even see it with the charities at St. Jude. And it's amazing. And like I said, I'd love to see what the journey continues, man, because it is really truly a special game that we love.
Yeah. Well, just to respect your time as well, I don't want to keep you forever because I feel like we can talk about this thing until we pass out and get hungry again. So we don't want you to get back into that state. So we do want to wrap it up. But for anybody out there, whether it be audio or video, wherever you guys watch this one, Ether, for you, let them know where they can find you, what you like doing, and just, gamer tags, whatever you want to share. That is up to you, man. If you stream, if you're on Twitter, if you put out YouTube, throw it all out there so all the awesome people can find you and send you a little more love than they already have.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I just want to say, if you were involved in this, go to ghostofosiris.com and put your name in, because we want to fill that webpage with Guardians. So where you can find me, so I'm Aetherlore, Aether lore. and you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on, I'm most active on Twitter. I stream on Twitch. I do have a YouTube that's under Brimfinity. And my links are all attached together. So you go to one of those locations, you'll find me everywhere else. You can find my TikTok. Like my name is the same across everything. So just choose your preferred method of whether watching or listening or engaging. Type in my name. I'm there, and I would love to get to know you.
Salute.
Awesome,
Tremendous. And again, that's AETHERLORE. So make sure you get the spelling right and follow a great person in the community.
It has been an absolute pleasure having Zycore. If you are still out there listening, having you on today, we'll definitely have, definitely thank you very much. OB, Katie Cat, thank you for being in chat today. I know you were part of this group as well, so thank you for being in there. The rest of you guys in chat have been awesome. I got Outsanity, Vagabondo, Prescott, Dramatic. All you guys in chat know who you are. You guys are awesome. I can't list everybody. I'm literally just seeing what I see on screen right now. Dramatic coming in late, of course. Wake up earlier, buddy.
Of course.
But seriously, for being in chat, being here today with us, thank you. Like this was amazing to get a piece of like just the inside perspective, whatever team you were in, to be truly like in the middle of the chaos is a cool perspective to see, because understanding things of like Google saying like, hey, stop like we think you're like to hear those little bits is awesome. So like and those little nuggets were great.
One quick thing, I definitely want to salute, we can't forget, I want to shout out Joshua Redding, aka Ancient of Frost, because technically he's the one that helped put this whole thing together. You know, he's the one that reached out to both Aetherlore and Zycore. I get it's so similar names.
It
so
is,
you know what I'm saying? So, reach out to both of you and, found out all the amazing work that you guys did. And, he's, again, our lordsofgaming.net editor. Tremendous, got huge Destiny fan, always writes the best Destiny articles for our site. So salute Ancient of Frost. The only reason why he couldn't be here is because his wife's having a baby. Because he was going to be here. And he's still listening. I know he's listening in the labor room somewhere.
He's got an earbud and be like,
he's got an earbud.
Oh, that's so true.
So if you're listening, Josh, the homie, Ancient of Frost,
if you got an earbud in the waiting room, then we appreciate you. Bro, shout out to Josh out there.
He even has specific questions for you, Ethan. Gotta ask this. You gotta ask them that. I was like, all right, we got you.
I appreciate it. This whole thing, like those days just muddle together into this absolute chaos. And I'm personally still trying to sort through it. So being asked these questions helped me kind of like put words around the entire event. So I appreciate you guys, of course, for talking to me and about this whole thing, because it's really exciting to talk about. And I really enjoy this experience. I want to share it with as many people as I can. So thank you for letting me get that out there.
You
absolutely
are welcome.
We'll do our wrap stuff real quick, and then we will wrap this thing up. So, Cognito, quick wrap up for you, and then I will send us off into the world of our Fridays.
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, shout out to E. You know what I'm saying? But I got my little logo. I got my Twitter handle at the bottom. Like, I'm getting all fancy out here now. So yeah, you can find me at Twitter at Lord Cognito. You already know. And every Sunday is the Lord's Day Ironlord podcast, where we talk about gaming, console, PC. We'll have a different guest. We'll have Michael Mercy. We're going to talk some retro, some classic video game systems back in the day, and then talk about the latest things that's going on with the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, PC, and all that good stuff. So come check us out. That will be on the Ironlord Podcast YouTube channel, 1 p.m. Eastern on Sunday. And of course, please check out lordsofgaming.net. Like I mentioned, Josh Redding, our editor-in-chief, he's on there. Tons of gaming articles. Check that out. And last but not least, every Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, the best damn Destiny podcast y'all don't know about, but y'all gonna learn. Y'all gonna learn The Last Word with my guy, Ebontis. We kill it every day. We just try to do positive stuff for the community. And we appreciate the support. We see you guys retweeting and liking the content. So, we love it. It feels good. And we're going to continue to do this thing because we still love this damn game. That's all I got.
Yeah, we're crazy. So. Yeah, from the podcast that started during Curse of Osiris, and people are like, y'all crazy.
Yeah, that's when we started it. At the lowest of the low.
Yep. So, but yeah, no, honestly, just thank you to everybody in chat today. Thank you to the entire community for doing everything that you did, whether you were making the program, submitting images, or just watching and supporting Glad in. You guys broke Glad, you broke Sweatcicle, like so many people in just like the sub trains and the support and the love that was given through this community, whether it was just like bits, hypes, follows, all those things that you guys did in the community. You broke some of those streamers. I think Sleep broke Glad. I saw you guys like made like Sweatsicle go like just kind of get up out of his chair and just like lose it from some of the love that you guys gave. And that's why, again, when you guys say like the way this community is unique, unlike any other, continues to show itself. There is no other community that gets together, that does what it does, that does Guardian Con and raises $4 million for St. Jude's. Like everything that happens is amazing. And this is just another testament to, during all of this insanity going on, you had some like, there were faces to it. Maybe you weren't a streamer, but like everybody coming together was amazing. So thank you guys. I'm Simple. I'm Ebantis everywhere, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all the good things. So find me on any of those. And we're going to try this with 3 people. It's always interesting. As the title of the podcast is The Last Word, this is how we wrap it up. So I'll kind of give the little outro and then I'm going to say, and it has been, and we try and say the last word at the same time. Don't wait on me. I will try and match you. Cool?
We go first. We go first.
You guys go first because I got to match you because of the delay. So, and I can always edit it later, which I'm better at now. So editing always makes it easy. So, well, thank you guys very much. It has been episode 88. For all of you guys in chat, listening out there in the world, thank you guys very much. It has been January 24th, episode 88. And for all you guys out there, it has been
the last
word.
All right. So I'm going to send you guys over to Drewski. He's out there playing some PvP right now. He's an awesome guy. Met him at Guardian Con as well. Definitely one I would not want to face in PvP because I would get whooped. But outside of that, I'm going to send you guys to raid him. So do that right now. Give him some love over on that side. And as for the last word today, we're out of here. So go enjoy the raid. I'll see you guys soon.
Peace.
And we are off stream.